You were not really young thinking, one day I want to be a real estate agent.
No. It was like one day I need a freaking job. Every time they didn't want me to do something, it was like, I'll show you. I'm going to do it anyways. Like.
Commission-wise, how much money is 200 homes gross commission? Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you.
I've been thinking, you're 26 years old. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm going to jump into real estate straight away. You have sold with your team 200 homes last 12 months. That's a lot. You know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time now. And for any individual with their team to actually sell 200 homes, that just takes a lot of focus. And what my stats are telling me, when it comes to Queensland, I think you'd be probably in top 5 people when it comes to the amount of properties you have sold. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So how does 26 years old stay focused to actually do that day after day? I mean, last 3 days you sold 5 homes. You're a very young individual. You're a very young lady. You know, tell me how.
I think the team and I all strive off having a routine. We've been very, very structured, especially in the last probably 2 years, in ensuring like everything has a checklist and a process. So for me, I thrive on that. If my day's not organized or if the team don't know what they're doing, then I just don't enjoy coming into work. Yes. But because I've got such a good team behind me and setting up those operations and then continuing on with it all, it just flows. Like for me, I then thrive off the fact that they're doing well, we're doing well, business is inbound, it's sort of clearing itself as well. Like, I don't know, I think I just enjoy the fast pace, especially in volume transactions. Like we're handling so many things at once that gives me enough energy to just continue on.
How long you been in real estate?
This will be coming up to my 9 years.
So basically, straight after high school.
As soon as I left, I was 17.
17?
Yeah.
What was your first job in real estate?
I was receptionist.
Receptionist?
So, yeah.
Were you a personal assistant to receptionist? Were you actually a receptionist?
No, I was actually a receptionist, but they were just, it was like a bit of everything.
Yes.
I don't recall like ever really answering the phones too much. It was like property management assistants,
Yes.
Back in the days where they would just give you the old lead sheets and I was going through to like see who owned property and all that sort of stuff for the sales agents. So it was a bit of everything. Everything.
The reason why I said your personal assistant to receptionist because we both know one individual. Yeah. That's how he started. He started as a personal assistant to receptionist. I was like, what, you were assistant to assistant? That just makes no sense.
No.
Which is interesting because when a lot of young individuals, I mean, you're still freaking so young, right? And a lot of young individuals, men and women, when they see you do so well, they think to themselves, you know what, I can do that straight away. What they don't realize, this is your 9th year in real estate and you really started from the bottom.
Very much, yeah.
When did you start selling real estate solo?
Solo, it would be 7 years in January.
So you were basically 19, 20 years old, went on your own selling real estate.
Correct, yeah.
GCI, gross commission, first year.
My first year, I think the first full proper year, we did about 25 sales, something along those
25
lines.
sales. That's okay. Yeah. That's still massive for first year because you look young now. I can imagine how young you were looking, at age 19.
A baby. Well, even more so than
how did you at that time, how did you at 19 years old convince somebody to give you a house to sell?
I went in knowing already that they didn't want to use me to a degree. So it was sort of like I had to go in and bring it up that I was young. I had to sort of like just push back on whatever they were too scared to bring up as an objection. So I knew my age was an issue to most. Whilst they didn't want to express that, it was quite obvious that they thought that I was immature or didn't have the record behind me. But it was sort of like going, I don't have 40 years of experience, but what I do have that the other people in this area that are up against me don't. I was like, they don't have the energy that I do. They don't have the drive. It's sort of like an underdog coming in. So it's always a case of when I did get invited out, it was like, I'm just going to bring it up first. You know what? These are the positives with working with me. I don't have a life outside of real estate. Still probably don't.
Yeah,
So
nothing has changed 7 years later.
Still probably don't. But I think they appreciated the honesty. And I probably did lose quite a few from being too honest back then. I could have been that agent that just promised the world. Back then, like when I was selling, it was probably over 3 months, 4 months average sale time. So turnover wasn't happening, and stock was just sitting on the market. Townhouses were over a year. So everyone was promising the world and then not delivering, whilst I was probably doing the opposite. So it was sort of like, you know what, this is what I think you should do. If that doesn't work, fair enough. But it sort of like just came back to, I guess, help in the end, because ultimately people just appreciated the trust and the fact that I was respectful and upfront in giving them direction in a market that wasn't probably so great.
Yes.
So
what's interesting, I pretty much know all the best salespeople in the country. And the only person that sells more than you do that I personally know is Josh Tesselin. You sold 200 homes last 12 months, but when you were 19, did you know then that one day you're going to be one of the best in the country?
No, I was quite comfortable and thought, you know what, if I can do 30, cool.
And what did you do second year?
I think we jumped up to 65.
65 homes second year.
Yeah.
Third year?
80 something, 88, I think.
And fourth?
I think it stayed about the same. I think it was 80 to 90, and then it went up to like 165.
How did you go from 80, 90 to 165? What was that critical point in your career for you to double down?
We finally had, I guess, enough time to work out the kinks of working with 2 to 3 people. So there was me and then 2 others. So it was just finding what worked. I think I had a lot of turnover in staff at that stage. I wasn't comfortable with, I guess, understanding how to lead or how to grow people in the team as well.
You were learning as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And one of my friends, he actually runs a company, and he has more than 500 staff. He said, Emil, when I was starting my career, nobody was teaching me how to manage people. So it was kind of all learning
on the spot. So it was probably just that, like getting the right people in the team, but also then the right knowledge behind myself as well as to how to lead them and how to train them. I always sort of looked back, and a lot of the people that I assumed were probably poor associates were probably just getting poor guidance from me. So once that was all really solid, and I sort of spoke about the structure and all that, probably not too much of the basics has changed.
Yes.
And now if anyone new is coming into the team, it's so simple for them to learn and pick it up because it's all just there in front of them.
Did you ever feel the point in your career when you knew that I am the best, or I'm one of the best?
I don't.
Or you don't think like that?
I don't like to think like that. I don't know. I think
How do you
it
think?
could change like overnight. I don't know. Like I try to sort of.
But you know you're good. I think you're just being humble.
No. I know I'm good, but I don't like repeating that out loud because to a lot of people it just goes to their head and then they back off. Like to me it's like, yes, I know I'm good, but guess what? I won't continue to be good if I stray away from the things that got me there in the first place. So at the end of the day, I need to just focus on doing the fundamentals day in, day out.
I think right now, from knowing you a little bit more now, I feel like even you know that you're just scratching the surface to where you're going to go.
Yeah.
It's like everything over the last 8-9 years has been just warming up to go to the sky now.
Yeah, it's definitely been hot.
Yeah.
I mean, have you been in that steam room sauna? Like, I feel like life is just, it could definitely.
One thing is, there has been a lot of changes in your business over the last 7 days. And one thing that I have learned, you handle pressure really well. At least that's the way it looks from outside.
Yeah.
And I always say, the one that can handle the most pressure is the one that's going to go furthest. Because being in business that you are in, you are such a high volume. You're going to be reaching the point where you're selling almost freaking house a day, right? You have to be able to handle pressure, and you have to be able to handle whatever the outcome is, because not every day everything goes perfect. So the way you're handling things really reflects where you are today and how far you're going to go. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. there's definitely times in the last 2 weeks where we've had a lot sort of thrown at us and there probably was too much shown to the team. But yeah, now sort of looking back, it's like, all right, I'm glad that I could keep that within myself and not.
I just cry when I go to bed.
I don't even think I cried ever. I was just so frustrated, but it is what it is. That's
How
business.
do you deal with disappointment in general?
I am somebody that will react really quickly, really fast and over the top, and then it's done. It's like,
Move on.
Move on. I can't be
You
bothered.
didn't dwell on it forever.
Can't be bothered. You know, if someone does wrong by me or whatever, it's like, you know what? Screw them, but
Yes.
cool, whatever. Like if I hold on to resentment and anger and everything else, that just affects everything else in my life. So
Yes.
my energy moving forward. So same thing like with the wins, like, you know, it's like, awesome, that's fantastic, cool, move on.
Yes.
I just want to continue to stay at that approach. Whilst if you're constantly like, I guess I am constantly high and low, but I'm not letting myself sit in one or the other for too long.
Interesting you say that. There was one of the world's leaders and that I follow, and he said he actually ends up this guy employs about 6,000 people, and I know him on a personal level. He said, Emil, the key in any workplace or business or whatever people are doing is to kind of keep that flat line. Because a lot of people, specifically in sales, when they win, oh my God, they want to jump through the roof. You know, they're so excited, you know, and but then when something goes wrong, they really close
down
up.
the dumps.
You know, so they really close up. And then, you know, if you get disappointed, I always say, you know, the key is to learn the art of how not to be disappointed in an outcome. Because if you get disappointed, what happens then, if you don't deal with it properly, you close up. When you close up, then you can't make right decisions. You know, you can't make right moves to actually, you know, go forward straight away. You close up and then you might miss opportunities. Full stop. When you were young, tell me about your childhood. Were you born in Brisbane?
Yeah, I'm Northside based, so Redcliffe.
So you went from Redcliffe to Logan. How did that transition even?
When I started in real estate, the company that I worked for at the time had an office in Logan as well as in Redcliffe. So I was receptionist at Redcliffe, and I hated just how I was as a child. So I sort of always had that inkling of being like, I want to get away from everyone that I already know. Like sort of just left high school. I drifted from a lot of the kids that I was sort of brought up with.
And why did you even get into real estate?
I don't remember applying for the job. I actually don't.
So
I still to this day don't remember. I remember getting the phone call.
You were not young. You were not really young thinking one day I want to be a real estate agent.
No. It was like one day I need a freaking job. Like I had already had I've been working since I was 14, but I just wanted something solid to potentially get me through uni. So I believe at the time I'd just been applying for everything and I was waiting on getting that acceptance letter for university.
Yes.
And the same week that I got my letter to say, you know, you're accepted into paramedicine, thank God I never went, I got the phone call and it was like, oh, you've applied for, you know, this role. I think you're really talented, like all this sort of jazz come on through. They really liked my background in coaching from cheerleading and just like the structure and stability that I had there. Like I was doing 38-hour weeks on both training and coaching schedules from a really young age in amongst, you know, schooling. So
just going back, you know, you said you started working at age 14. Why did you start work at age 14?
I was not brought up in a family that would just get given things. Like I was one of 7 kids. So if you wanted to...
You have 6 brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Are you the oldest, youngest?
Middle. So
In
3 above, 3 below.
Boys, girls?
There's 4 boys, 3 girls, including me. Yeah.
So 7 kids. How beautiful. So your house, it was always action-packed.
Mayhem. So like if I wanted to learn how to drive, I'd have to try and convince my parents to be able to take me out. But not even that. It was like I didn't want to learn how to drive in their car or they didn't want to take me out in their car. So it was like, well, then get a job to be able to buy your own car. So like I think at 15 or 16, I bought my first car.
What was your first car?
It was like a Hyundai Getz. I think I wrote that thing. I wrote that thing of Quick Smart.
So you saved up to buy your own car?
Yeah. And I was like, I wanted to continue cheerleading. It's not a cheap sport. So then I got into coaching. I also had another job. Like I was just constantly working to fulfill what I wanted out of my life at that time because I wasn't.
So mom and dad didn't say, hey, there's a $20,000, buy yourself a car. Don't worry about working.
They didn't want me doing any of it. Like they didn't want me going to cheer. So it was sort of like every time they didn't want me to do something, it was like, I'm going to fucking show you. Like I'm going to do it anyways. Like, and I'm going to fund it myself so you can't say that I can't go because it's like you're not involved.
So starting work at age 14, how important do you think it is for today's generation to actually start getting that work ethic really early?
Massive. It's independence. I think if you're just constantly given everything, and don't get me wrong, I don't like despising my parents at all in terms of my upbringing. I actually appreciate the fact that it wasn't handed to me. But I think that working ethic, especially in sporting, like even if you're not working, but if you're striving constantly to be structured, on time and just ultimately having that work ethic behind you, that has set the foundations of my whole life, really. Everything, whether it was work or the cheerleading dynamic, was super important to sort of how I am today.
By talking to you, everything is just cruisy, everything is easy. I'm going to ask you a personal question. Last 12 months, you sold 200 homes, high volume. Commission-wise, how much money is 200 homes, gross commission?
We have
that's over $2.5 million, right?
Yeah. We did just over 2.5 last year.
So age 26, you just written over $2.5 million in gross commission. Do you realize how much money is that? Like Prime Minister makes 400-500 grand.
I mean, it's not like I know what that looks like now, but yeah. If you sort of told me 5 years ago that that's what we'd be writing, I'd laugh. Like I tried to put so many times. Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. I'm so happy with like 100 grand. That's a goal.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's over $2.5 million. You made over $2.5 million in commission over the last 12 months.
That's not what people make, though. Let's be real. Like it's gross.
Well, gross commission. Of course, you got to pay people, you got taxes, and so on. You know, but that's a lot. So, over your journey over the last 8-9 years, what do you think you got that others don't to be on the top? Because in Australia, there's a handful of people that make. What people don't realize that are watching this, most real estate agents make under $100,000 in gross commission.
That blows my mind.
Most agents make under $100,000 in gross commission. You made over $2.5 million in gross commission. So what do you think is that freaking ingredient? What do you think that you have most other people don't?
I think it is just discipline. Like when I started, I refused to let any hour in the day be wasted. So it was like, you know, if it was 5 a.m., that was a period in time that you couldn't really necessarily talk to people. So it was like, all right, we'll spend that time letterbox shopping. Like don't go and outsource that yet. You don't deserve that. And then all the way through to like, you know, midnight, I was creating my own marketing and like letters and everything else. So it was like the hours in which I could talk to people, I definitely prioritize, whilst most agents will stray away from trying to fill their day up completely, or they'll fill it up with like administration during the day or, you know, bits and bobs to make it seem as though they're really working, but they're not talking to enough people. It was sort of like, I just always knew if I prioritized prospecting, the rest would pay off. The rest is not as important. Yes, you need certain bits and pieces done, but do those after hours. Do those when you can't talk to people.
So you really organize your time throughout the day when you can do what?
Exactly. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, you can't go and make cold calls at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So go and do something else. Like I wasn't like I was sitting at home then going to the gym. Like I really didn't have a life outside of it. I made it so it was like, well, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it like I'm going all in. And I'm still very much like that now with a little bit more balance because I otherwise will be burnt out. But I really just structured it.
Talk about the balance. What do you do for yourself to have that balance?
I'm still working on it, but I do probably have a little bit less mayhem in my life because I'm not managing it all myself now. So if I'm getting up and I can be bothered to go to the gym or even just go for a walk, like that to me is enough. I need just some sort of time at home. For you. Yeah, for me.
Yes.
Even if it's just literally like, you know, I go for horse riding once a week typically.
Do you
on
have
like
a
a
horse?
Wednesday night. No. I don't want to again waste my time, unfortunately, looking after it.
So when you go horse riding, there's a horse waiting for you. Just pay a ride and go back to work.
I ride the same horse pretty much all the time. But like on a Wednesday night, I'll rock up. I know Katie, I sold her house. She's got it all tacked up. If anything, I tack up and then jump on, have my lesson. It's like an hour or half an hour of like no phone on me, can't think.
Yes.
Otherwise, you know, something will go wrong. Jump off and then it's like, okay, cool.
Yes.
Reset. Yeah.
How can somebody beat you today? So if I go against you or anybody, how can somebody beat you?
I don't want to give away all the secrets. No, but I think at the end of the day, if you show up with energy and drive and a plan, and you're confident, then I don't see why an owner wouldn't choose you. So many go in and fumble it or too scared to ask the right question or too scared to even give them a direction to begin with. That's why they got you there. Like, that's why they got you there. Like, be direct, be upfront. Otherwise, you're going to come across as everyone else being like, oh, you know, do you want to sell? Like, who the fuck wants to deal with a person like that? Like,
yes.
I think you've got to go in confident, know your stuff, know your market, know the plan in which you're going to pitch to them and back yourself.
Yes.
But you've also got to have a track record if you're going to start saying that you're this, that, and the other. I try not to talk about what my statistics are. At the end of the day, they probably know. That's why they've gotten me out.
I only sold 200 homes.
So like, no, but that's why they've gotten you out. So it's like you don't need to sit there and fluff yourself up. People hate that. It'll show that you're obviously doing well in the direction, in the approach and the pitch in which you're giving to them. So
I think you're speaking to anybody for 5 minutes, they will know exactly how much of their time you're worth.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
where do you think 2025 is for you? I know you have just started with a new company, starting with your own office, and new challenges ahead. So leading your own team, I feel like you have kind of done everything the right way. You started as on the bottom of real estate chain, being in reception, then you were starting as a real estate agent yourself, and then now you have a team of 7 people, or you number 8.
Yeah.
So you kind of went progressively learning how to manage one person, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You were still real estate agent working for somebody else. Game has changed.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Starting from scratch. Yeah.
No going back.
It's too late for that now.
I had the same conversation with Josh Tesselin 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Literally like this. 4.5 years later, he's number 1 in the country in every freaking way you can look at it. And if anybody can beat him, I always say it's yourself. So you better watch out. And he will probably make you work really hard for you to get him.
I don't know. That's one person I'm quite happy to lose to be honest. I'm not Josh.
Josh deserves everything he has.
100%.
He's a good human, and he outworks anybody that I know, including myself, fivefolds. But 2025, you're starting with your own office, your own team. You are the principal. So you're kind of going to have 2 jobs now. One job is leading by example, still selling real estate. And 2, running your office and in the time attracting other agents to come and join you. And, you're going to be forced without a question. From personal level, when it comes to sales, where do you think 2025, is there a goal that you have, or you just want to keep going and keep doing the best you can? Or is there a target that you set for yourself to hit?
I've never set like targets, to be honest. It's always like, look back at the year that we've had, do better than that. Like whether it be numbers or GCI or improving your commission balance or better structuring the team, it's always just been like, just do better than what you did once before. So I don't want to say that I'm shooting for the stars, whilst internally I definitely am, but I just we're starting again from scratch. I want to make sure the foundations are right. I want to make sure that the clients are happy, and ultimately, like if we're doing all of that right, then the numbers should progress from last year. So that's the goal, is make sure everyone's comfortable, working well. It's obviously quite a bit of a change. I want to hopefully continue the numbers that we were doing previously, because we are literally starting again from zero in terms of online sales. So if we can get back up to the top, number one in Logan, I'll be stoked.
I think you really got no choice.
I know. Yeah, but that is the goal. Like, make sure that is working.
Yes.
And ultimately everything else will bleed out from there. Like, that's how we grew out the team to begin with. Like, the more I did in Marsden and surrounding suburbs, the more we then received inbound for, other sort of properties and areas and referrals and all that sort of stuff. So I've got to get my name back on the board. And then the goal is to then grow out the team again.
What does never give up mean to you?
It's literally what I'm having to do right now. It's like full steam ahead, head down, bum up. Like, there is no backing out. You've just got to make it work.
No other choice.
There's no other choice.
What does make Beck happy? On a personal level.
What makes me happy? I think I'm honestly just very grateful for everything. I'm happy with just life in general, even with everything the last 2 weeks. Like, I'm actually so glad it's happened. Just everything. I'm stable.
You had some people pushing you hard to do it.
It's definitely been a challenging 2 weeks, but I honestly just appreciate the people around me. I don't really keep those close to me that are fake, or I can't stand for any of it. So I think I just have good people around me, good structure, good stability. I know when I'm going to hit tipping point. I know what to then involve in, like writing and everything else, to sort of give myself a break. But I'm happy all the time. I think I'm happy with the challenges.
Why did you choose NGU?
It's a good question. You sort of know.
If the answer is bad, I'm going to cut this entire conversation. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to release this video.
No. I chose NGU, for you guys at the end of the day. You never came to me. You never really tried to approach or any of it. It wasn't, you didn't need my business. But I think we sort of are both aligned in the sense that you want to get into a market that you've not gotten into too much so. And I'm starting from scratch, and it sort of feels like I'm the underdog coming back in. So I think how we both think business-wise, both yourself and Giselle and everybody else in the network as well, is sort of like that underdog mentality. It's like, we're going to come in and prove that we are going to absolutely fuck shit up. Like, we're
going to fuck shit up. That's for sure.
And like coming into it, it was like, okay, well, I just need someone that's going to back me, but also reason with me when I need to be told that that's maybe not the right move. So
that's the attitude. That's what I love about yourself. You know that you know a lot. You know you are good. Clearly, numbers are there. Numbers don't lie. But at the same time, you're also willing to learn more and willing to progress. Because the problem with a lot of people, when they reach that tipping point, when they're doing well, they think they know better than everybody else. They think they know it all. And that's quite often hits them back massively, and they actually end up going backwards. Ego can be a killer to an individual. And through entire this conversation, you're really humble, you calm, you're down to earth. And the reality is, you fucking sold 200 homes in real estate. You are what people are looking. I mean, when you rebranded from your old company to NGU, I literally had over 100 messages. And out of 100, I had 100 positive messages. I'm sure there were people that hated the fact,
of course,
but they just didn't want to tell me. Because people know, some people don't like, people that are doing better than them for whatever reason. But there was so many people saying unbelievable, amazing things about yourself. And a lot of them come from, your network where you were working before. A lot of them were your competitors, and they still had nice things to say about yourself, which speaks volume heavily. Do you know where you're going to be at age 30? Do you have a vision where you're going to be at age 40, age 50? Do you think that far ahead?
I try not to, in terms of like...
Just life in general?
Just life in general. Comfortable, but still challenged, because I think if I'm not doing things, I'm going to drive myself insane. So business will look different, no doubt.
Yes.
hopefully in a bit of a change of scenery to where I am now. But no, I think, I honestly can't think too much ahead, to be honest.
I tell you something. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 45. And you just got this amazing journey in front of you. And you get us only individuals get us focused so much on enjoying the little moments every day, because they will come when you are 85 or 90 years old. And you're going to think to yourself, then, only got a few years left. Like right now, you got lifetime left in front of you. Touch wood. But, did you ever think how you're going to think when you're 90, knowing only got a few years left to live?
I think I would like to look back and go, you know what, it doesn't really matter if I've got a day or a year or whatever. It's like I've done what I wanted to do.
I lived my life on my terms. Like, fuck it, I did everything.
100%. I think good balance, really. Like, I don't want to be those people that have to wait their whole life to then be able to travel.
Yes.
I'm sort of not traveled too much so already now. Like, I want to be able to put all my energy into everything that I can right now, because God knows if I've got a month or 10 years, 50 years, just put as much into everything that excites me now, and do it well.
Do you ever stress? Because the way
Yes.
he just come across, he just he's like a happy chap. And if you do stress, how do you deal with stress?
I think my team probably would
I should
argue
ask
the
them.
difference. But I think I mentioned, like, I'm just very much like, I'll be so stressed, I'll bottle it up, I'll snap, or I'll make some sort of drastic thing. And then it's like, okay, cool. Moving on. Like, all right, what's next?
Yes.
I'm pretty I don't know. I'm just always stressed. It's just become the new norm. But
yes. You just deal with it.
Just deal with it.
Move the fuck on.
Yeah, got no other choice. It's like, yeah, okay, it's shit. How are you going to fix it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jumping into real estate, what do you think is the best way to prospect, to get business?
The fundamentals. You cannot make money off of just one thing. You can't have, I think, some people be like, you've got to be social media. It's a balance of everything, depending on your market. For me, if I stopped doing letterbox drops and mail outs, I'd die. Like, that built my brand, because it's an investment market. But everything should be layered. I think you need to do everything, whether it's a little bit of everything. But the fundamentals is people need to know who you are. They need to believe that you've got a reputation, whether you do or not. And you need to be face-to-face. So whether that's calls, door knocks, letterbox shops, mail outs, whatever it is, social media as well, you've got to do it all, because ultimately every year it's constantly changing and evolving. So if you've dropped off one, you'll lose a certain part of your market. And if you're not doing the other, like social media, you'll lose the younger generation as well. So
what would be your advice to anybody starting in real estate today?
I actually think, not that I've done everything right, but I think if you're starting in real estate and not choosing to work through property management and those basics, I think you're missing so much, because you're sort of lacking the knowledge when you are speaking to investors, especially, as to what it looks like for them. I think try it all before you jump into sales. It's going to give you structure. It's going to give you a little bit more background and knowledge before you're just diving in expecting to drive a really nice car in 12 months. Buddy, likely to not happen. So just test it, see whether it's for you, and then build up from there. But don't go in expecting the world. You need to understand that it's literally going to be probably the most challenging thing that you do.
See, people go to university for 4 or 5 years to get a
degree,
to get a diploma so they can get a job. And I think the mistake that a lot of young individuals make, they think, I'm starting in real estate today and tomorrow I'm better than Beck. That tomorrow will come, but that tomorrow might be 5, 10, 15 years for them to be able to say that. And why do you think most people fail in real estate?
They expect everything far too quick. I think the numbers came out, I'm going to ruin the statistics, but a seller will connect and work with you after over 18 times points of contact. That percentage is like, you know, the likelihood of you listing that contact after speaking with them over 18 times is like 70-something%. People that actually sell after the first or second interaction is like 0-point-something%. Like they all going in expecting to knock on a door or call one person and find that like immediate sale. It's unlikely to happen. Like you've got to be repetitive in everything to actually have people remember you. And that's going to take time. You can't just have, you know, you walk into, it's like me coming into Indooroopilly, like, and all of a sudden expecting to establish myself here as, you know, a well-known agent. No one knows me here. Like
you got to start from the bottom.
You've got to start from the bottom. You've got to give it time. But you've also got to be really structured in not assuming that you've done enough. Like a lot of people will go, oh yeah, that's enough. Like, you know, I made 10 phone calls today. Like it'll happen. It's like, no way. Like learn your market, learn what the number one agent does to get to your market. And that's just not now what they're doing, but what they were doing 5 years ago to get where they are now. And then do that, but double it. Like otherwise you're not going to get anywhere near that other person.
You're a very passionate person. I feel like 2025 is going to be your year, and I feel like you're all in. No going back. I'm going to double down.
Game on.
It's a fucking game on. Game on. You either come with me or run away.
Yeah.
You're inspiring a lot of young individuals. You're inspiring a lot of young ladies. Because let's face it, you know, there's still more male real estate agents than female in general. Am I right or wrong there? I think I'm pretty freaking right.
Yeah, I think it is growing though, but more in the property management space. There are more women coming into sales, but we need a lot more.
Well, you're definitely inspiring and leading by example. I'm very blessed on a personal level that I'm going to be working a lot closer with you, you know, moving forward in the future. And I can't wait to see 2025, 2026, 7 and more. Most importantly, it's great to see you still enjoying the industry that you are in. You know, I think last year or year before, there was statistics and they were saying that people in real estate are the least trusted, or we were in like bottom scale.
Yeah.
You definitely are individual who makes this industry reputable and doesn't make us all look bad in real estate. And it's been pleasure having you on my podcast. And I want to do this again this time next year. Because there is a personal target I have in my own head for yourself. And I think the target is 300 homes, because that has never been achieved in Queensland by anybody.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
300. so I'm gonna call you on it and say, hey, where is my 300 sales for the year, which is a massive target. I get inspired and motivated when I see young individuals giving it a go, but you're really giving it a go in style. And it's been pleasure knowing you, and let's bring on 2025.
Let's go.
Thank you, Beck.
Thanks.
Thank you.